So, as most of the football fans have heard, Massimiliano, I want to make sure I get the name right, Allegri or Max Allegri, is back at Juventus. Personally, a little bit of a shocker for me because the last a week and a half to 2 weeks, we've been hearing about him being linked to Real Madrid, and it feels like he met with the upper management, and it just kind of feels like they were waiting for a signature, and Allegri was going to take over Real Madrid. However, that didn't happen. So he is going to be going back to Juventus, where he's had a lot of success. 11 trophies altogether, 5 titles, 4 cups, and I believe 2 Super Cups. 2.27 points per match, which is quite a bit. Very good record with Juventus. Had some success in the Champions League, no titles, but quarterfinals, semifinals. Just hasn't been able to get over the hump and win the big one. And I believe I mentioned this when I either on a podcast or a vlog that I did, feels like maybe a month and a half ago, that this job was just way too big for Pirlo. So a little bit of tracking back, Pirlo was supposed to take over the Juventus U23s actually, and then 2 or 3 days prior to that, Juventus named him the senior team coach. And I usually, when a former player goes into a managerial position, it usually benefits them, coaching at a lower tier club. So, for example, Zidane started off with Real Madrid Castillo, which I think is where Raul is now. And it just kind of, get their feet under them, and sooner or later they're going to get jobs with big clubs. And I think that's the kind of the problem that Juventus had. They just sort of gave him the job with no experience, when I think it would have benefited him if he went and coached the U23s. You can look at examples like Frank Lampard. I get that he was at, I believe it was Derby County, pardon me. And, Mikel Arteta with Arsenal is catching a lot of flack now. But Arsenal is his first job as well. But Allegri is familiar with the club. Maybe this is a way to lure Ronaldo to stay, although I don't know if he is going to stay. If I were him, Sporting Lisbon, I think, is where he should end his career. Obviously, he knows how much football he still has left in him. So if he still has 4 or 5 years left, maybe Sporting Lisbon isn't the right move just yet. But that's where I would end my career. That's kind of where he's made his name, and he went to Manchester United from there. So that's where, if I were Ronaldo, that's where I would end my career. But there's a lot of work to do with Juventus. There's questions with the goalkeeping. The back line is getting a lot older. The players in that midfield and the forward area really aren't, they're decent, but they're not Juventus standard, if I can say. So bringing in Allegri, who, like I said, is familiar with the team, a lot of the players he should be familiar with since the last time he left. So he left the job June 30th, 2019, so less than 2 years ago. So he's familiar with a lot of the players, and he's always someone who can bring in talented players just because of his stature as a coach and everything that he's done for Juventus. So it caught me off guard, but at the end of the day, I think it made sense. I did a piece saying I think that Zidane should go to Juventus because I kind of looked at it and I thought Pirlo was going to get sacked just because he going from first to fourth or wherever they finished is a step down. Pretty much all those top teams in the Serie A, Milan, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus, all these teams want to win the title, and not winning a title is a step down for them every year. So I thought that at that time Zidane should take over, but bringing back Allegri is something that I never really kind of counted on. So bringing him back, like I said, familiarity with the club, very important, and it's going to be his job to kind of bring the team back. And this is interesting. So this is kind of like what happened in the NFL for the people who follow the NFL. There was a lot of quarterbacks kind of out there, and we were kind of waiting for the chips to kind of fall to see who ends up where. And I think that's sort of happening in football now. So Allegri's back at Juventus. We're going to see what happens with Real Madrid. There's rumors that Pochettino isn't exactly happy at PSG, so maybe a return to Tottenham, maybe going to Real Madrid. Zidane maybe then goes to PSG or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting. Hansi Flick leaving Bayern Munich to take over the Germany national squad. Maybe Joachim Low goes to Real Madrid. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer. And like I said, I think this just to kind of cap it off, I think this is a good move for Juventus. familiar with the club. He's had statues, he won stuff there. So overall, I think it's a good move for Juventus going forward.